Welcome back, everybody, to the Tennessee Titans franchise here on Madden 23. Today we head down to Duval County in Jacksonville, Florida to face off against the Jacksonville Jaguars in an AFC South divisional matchup. Last episode we had a doubleheader going 1-1, losing on primetime to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then narrowly defeating the defending Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys on the final play of the game. We also have a prospect profile in today's episode in which we'll be going over the offensive skill position players in this year's upcoming draft class, and we'll get to that in just a moment. As we look at what happened in the last episode, unfortunately, the defense really struggled against the Steelers, a team who beat us twice last year, including in the playoffs, and then against Dallas. That matchup was absolutely crazy. We arguably should have lost that game, but we were able to get a goal line stand right at the finish to win. So as we look at our prospect profile today, we'll be going over running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. There's plenty of offensive talent in this draft, and I would not mind getting younger and better in terms of our offensive skill position group. As we look at our current draft capital, we have a whole lot of picks this year, including 2 in the first round. We own our pick along with the Rams pick, and so far they have not been very good this year, so that looks like it could be a really high pick for us when it's all said and done. We're going to start with the running back position, and if you remember last year, the running back class was generational. There were 8 or 10 guys who could be legitimately good starters. This year, it's not quite as good, and I think this is a weaker running back class compared to normal, but there are still some pretty fun players. Now, luckily, I don't think we need running back all that much, so because of that, we're going to try to get through this position fairly quickly. Obviously, we have Derrick Henry, who's one of the best running backs in the NFL. He is slowly starting to show signs of age, but he's still really good. But we got to keep in mind he is on the final year of his contract. We drafted his long-term replacement, Elijah Bryant, in the second round. Bryant has had a really good role as our change of pace back this year, and eventually, once Derrick Henry is gone, he's probably going to be the main guy. Along with those two, we've got some young players like Rocket Reddick, who's pretty solid, and I'm excited to see what Marquette Collins can do once he is fully healthy from a preseason injury. Overall, we have a pretty good run game. We've got a great workhorse back in Derrick Henry, and Elijah Bryant is phenomenal too. So because of that, I don't think we're going to go running back early, but I do want to look at the top guys, and that starts with Cannon McMullen out of Arkansas. McMullen has been great for the Razorbacks the past few seasons, particularly his sophomore season where he took college football by storm. We haven't talked about him as much in the NCAA Next Up series over the last couple of seasons because Arkansas hasn't been that good, which is unfortunate, but he has still been really solid. The problem with him is, has he had too many touches? He has over 850 career touches in his collegiate career, and although he is a physical downhill runner who is a phenomenal athlete with great quickness for his size, he does have a lot of tread on the tires. Darius Coley from Alabama is kind of in the opposite boat. This is Coley's first year with a large role in the offense, and he has been great. He looks like he could legitimately contend for the Heisman Trophy, but is he a product of the Alabama system, or is he really good? I think it's a little bit of both. The Alabama offense really helps running backs play to their strengths, but even so, Darius Coley is just flat out phenomenal. His stock has gone way up this year. He has been dynamic, explosive. He has 6 receptions this year, and 4 of them have gone for touchdowns. Darion Seals on Oklahoma, on the other hand, I feel like his stock is trending downwards a little bit. Last year, he was phenomenal. He ran for 20 touchdowns, around 100 yards a game. He was a beast. This year, he hasn't been bad, but I think he has taken a slight step back. Despite that, I really like his long-term ceiling. He's got a really good mix of size, athleticism, and toughness as a downhill runner. So because of that, I think he could be really good. It's just that his inconsistent collegiate production does scare me a little bit, but I do think he could be a really good, likely late second-round pick, at least at this point in time. MJ Hill from Notre Dame is fascinating. This is another player in a very run-heavy offense, so because of that, it's easy to ask the question, is it him or is it the system? MJ Hill is a tough, physical, bruising back. He's really fast, maybe the fastest running back in the class, but he's not quick, he's not dynamic, and he's not explosive despite his great game-breaking speed. So I think he's going to be a little bit more of a long-term power guy who also happens to be oddly really fast. He's got a very weird player build, so because of that, I don't really know what to expect out of him in the NFL, but he has been really good at Notre Dame, and I think he should be a good pro. I think one of the bigger sleepers at the running back position in this draft class is Otis Washington Jr. out of Ohio. Washington is the best pass-catching back in this year's draft, and I think he is the prototypical modern NFL running back. He's 6 foot, just a shade under 200 pounds. He's athletic, he's dynamic, he's explosive, he's fast, but he's also got great quickness. And along with that, he's a phenomenal pass catcher. His receiving numbers are down this year, but that's mainly because his rushing numbers are up, and Ohio's just using him in a slightly different way. I think he's going to be a really good pro, even though he's not a big name. He doesn't play for a big school. But I really like him as an NFL prospect, and I think he's got a real shot to be maybe the best running back in this class when it's all said and done. I think those 5 guys are certainly the best running back prospects in this draft. And then as we go down the board a little bit, looking for some late-round flyers, maybe the Titans pick a running back late. Again, I don't think it's all that likely just because the Titans have a very deep running back room with a lot of young guys currently there. But there are some pretty intriguing names that I do want to go over real quick at the running back position as we sort of take a closer look into the day 3 crop of this draft class. Raheem Rocket Jr., another Arkansas guy. He's had a great season this year for the Razorbacks as a phenomenal complement for Cannon McMullen in what is, again, a very run-heavy Arkansas offensive system. I think he'll probably be a 4th-round pick. Todrick Suggs from Florida has done just fine, replacing Elijah Bryant. D'Angelo Hill's a great pass-catching back. Ate Enedale, I think, is a big sleeper out of Ball State. Nolan Franchise is having a great year, as is Choo Choo out of Iowa. And then going down even farther, Gideon Atwater, Goose McLauro, and Barrington Britt are all very solid undrafted guys. And then as we look at some of the running backs around the rest of college football who are going to be names to watch out for future classes or possibly declare this year, I think Mookie Davis is at the top of that list. He's the best running back in the country right now. Darius Edwards, Casey Aceron, Kobe Iverson, and Jayshawn Tate are all very good players as well. So let's now move over to the wide receiver position. This receiver class is very similar to last year in the sense that there's no clear top guy, but there's like 4 or 5 players who are vying to be the number 1 receiver. Like last year, it is a pretty deep group down the board. As we saw last year, a lot of really good receivers were pushed into the later rounds because it was such a deep group. I don't think it's as deep as last year, but there are still a lot of really good players in the later rounds. As we look at our receiving core, obviously Scotty Pickens, the former 1st-round pick, at the top of the list. He's great. He's a true number 1 alpha receiver and somebody that you can build your offense and your passing game around. I wouldn't mind adding some more receivers next to him as we look at some of the guys below him. McCole Hardman has been pretty disappointing this year, and he's on the last year of his deal. Treylon Burks has been playing pretty well recently, but even so, he's far from a proven commodity. We did use a couple late-round picks on receivers last year. We drafted Quinn Crew in the 6th round. He's been really good so far in limited opportunity. And we drafted Hot Rod Pryor in the 7th round. He has not played yet because of a preseason injury, but we're actually going to take him off of IR, and he's going to make his NFL debut this week. So as it stands, I really like our receiving room, but if McCole Hardman is gone, if we choose not to re-sign Treylon Burks within the future, we still probably are going to look to add another receiver at some point to the offense. Trenton Malice out of Indiana currently sits atop the list. I think it's more so because of his ceiling. You look at a big guy right here, 6'5", 230 pounds. He is a freak athlete because of his size, and with great production this year as a senior, I have a hard time thinking he won't be the top receiver off the board. I think teams are really going to like him. He kind of came out of nowhere last season as a guy who really produced for Indiana, and he's been even better this year. Arguably the fastest receiver in this class, which is impressive because he's probably the biggest. He knows how to use his body, which I think goes to his advantage. He's still a little bit rough around the edges. He was recruited to Indiana to play linebacker, so he's still new to the position. But I think if he can improve as a route runner and as a separator, oh boy, this kid could be really good. John Wiggins out of Michigan State has been great for the Spartans the last few years. Another guy who we really looked at early in his career, but the past couple of years not so much because he's played for a pretty mediocre Michigan State squad. Just because Michigan State has been pretty average does not mean Ajon Wiggins has. This is a special receiving talent who checks all the boxes. 6'2", 185 pounds. He's the best route runner in the class. He's got good hands. He's a good separator. And he's really athletic. He's pretty dynamic with the football in his hands. So there really aren't any weaknesses to his game, along with very high production throughout his career. So because of that, I think the floor is going to be really, really high with Wiggins. E.J. Twyman out of Miami is a very solid player as well. Ultimately, I do believe he will end up as a first-round pick. He's not as big or fast as the first two guys we looked at, but he is still really solid. He is a route technician. He knows how to get open. He knows how to catch the football. He knows how to make plays after the catch. And that's not to say he's small or slow. I mean, he's 6 foot. He's fast, but he's not necessarily quick. I think that's sort of the issue with him compared to the other two guys atop the class. But he is still a really, really good prospect, and again, I do think he ends up as a first-round pick. These next two receivers are very similar players. Kramer Gildeford from Houston and Jabari Kruger from Duke. Both guys are big, they're large, and they've had great quarterback play over their collegiate career. That starts with Kramer Gildeford out of Houston, who was by far the best receiver in college football last year, and it was not very close. He caught 26 touchdowns last year while being atop the country in terms of yards and receptions. He also had the luxury of playing with Heisman contending quarterback Kane Sanders. So the big question with him going into the year is he going to be able to produce without an elite quarterback? The answer has been hell yes. Gildeford has been pretty much just as good as he was last year. I think sort of the question with him is certainly not his production, but his consistent ability to get open. He often relies on his size a little bit too much, and he's a little bit inconsistent in terms of a route runner and a separator. Jabari Kruger out of Duke is in the exact same boat. He's not a great route runner. He's not a great separator. He's not dynamic with the ball in his hands, but he's a big physical receiver who knows how to box you out. He's like a power forward. And again, this is another guy who's had great quarterback play. Justin Tucker, the Duke quarterback, has been a Heisman contender over the last 2 seasons, so Kruger has certainly been able to use that to his advantage. I will say one of the bigger differences between him and Gildeford is that Kruger has better hands. I don't think he's quite as athletic as Gildeford, but I do think he is a little bit more refined in terms of consistency. Let's look at some of the probably second-round guys. That starts with Mamutso Damba out of Cal. If he keeps playing the way he is, I think he will end up being a first-round pick. Cal is a very run-heavy offense. They rely a lot on the option game, and they really just are not a passing team. But Mamutso Damba has still been really, really good this year. He's averaging around 90 yards a game, 6 foot, pretty fast, great route runner. He knows how to get open. He doesn't wow you in terms of his athleticism, but he's one of those guys who just knows how to play receiver. He knows how to get it open, and he's just really consistent. So if he keeps this production up, I think he will be a first-round pick, and I think he's going to be a really, really good pro at the next level in more of a pro-styled offense. Jensen Young out at the University of Central Florida is also really good as well. This is another guy who we really focused on early in his career. As a sophomore, he was one of the best receivers in the country, and the last couple years, we just haven't really talked about him because UCF has not been as good. Jensen Young's numbers are a little bit down, but he has still been very good the last couple of seasons. 6'1", 200 pounds, really good route runner, really good hands, pretty solid after the catch. He has been better than he was last year, and last season he was still really solid. Obviously not comparing to what he did as a sophomore, but he's also had much more inconsistent QB play over the last 2 seasons. I think his all-around ability of route running, size, and athleticism makes him a really solid prospect. Very similar to the last guy we talked about, Mamutso Damba from Cal, in the sense that both of them are very steady players with high floors. Let's look at more of the clear day 2 guys, players who are definitely going to go in the second or third round. And that starts with Khalil Hassan from Alabama, who's one of the most polarizing receiver prospects in the draft. In terms of pure talent, I don't know if anybody in the entire class beats him. He's got an excellent ability of size, speed, route running, athleticism. But as we talked about with Alabama's running backs, they are a run-heavy system. So because of that, Khalil Hassan isn't really utilized to his strengths, which is unfortunate. I think if he was on another program, he would be a surefire first-round pick. But because we haven't seen him consistently produce, I don't think anyone's going to be comfortable with picking him in the first round. So he's definitely a major wild card. As we look down the board even more, Melly Boskets from Nebraska is having a great year, as is Chris Gentry from Florida. Let's go over to Noah Hampton, though, out of Oklahoma. He's been the number one wideout for quarterback Romeo Colochi, who's been one of the best passers in the country this year. Noah Hampton's been really solid this year. He's 6'1", solid athleticism, good route runner, good hands, just a very steady player. I don't think he's got an elite ceiling, but this is another guy who just knows how to play receiver. His yards after catch ability this year has drastically improved. I'm pretty sure his yards after catch number has essentially doubled, so that's something he's really gotten better at. Looking down the board even farther, you've got guys like J.C. Farrell, the big slot guy out of Washington State. Trayshawn Nixon, raw, but a total freak athlete. He's going to wow scouts at the combine. Eric Denman's having a nice year at Oklahoma. Jody Gentry out of Memphis, very productive over the last few seasons. I want to take a look at Cameron Lewis, though, because this is a guy who really played well last year during the college football playoff. He was sort of TCU's big play, deep threat wide receiver, and he really bursted onto the scene last year during the playoff. He's become a much more steady and reliable receiver this year for the Horned Frogs, having his best season yet. He's only 5'11", but he plays big. He's over 210 pounds. He's thick. He's strong. He can win vertically, and I think you can put him in the slot as well as on the outside. So I think he's going to be able to produce it a variety of different ways at the next level. He's not the only day 3 gem at wide receiver in this class. I really like Ark Rain out of Penn State, who has stepped up as their number 1 receiver this year. After Shai Jones-Porter declared for the draft a year earlier than expected, Ark Rain has had a much bigger responsibility within the offense, and I think he's done a pretty good job. 6'2", he might be the fastest receiver in the entire draft, which is impressive if you consider the rest of his athletic package, along with his size at 6'2". I think that gives him a lot of upside at the next level. And if you look at the production this year, it's been really impressive. He's had a great season this year for Penn State. He's been one of the best receivers in the Big Ten, and there's no reason to think he won't be able to be a great player going forward. Going down the board even more, Boone Wilcox has had a great year. Garrett Rodriguez is slow, but he is a route technician. Then you've got the traditional slot guys like Philip Felipe, Obadiah Jackson, and Logan Ayers all sort of next to each other. And then we head to the really late guys. Luther Lexers is a good player. Kion Cordell, I think, is talented, but he has a hard time staying on the field. Kalia Hefe out of Kansas has been a major gem in this season. Kansas does not have some prolific quarterback or some prolific passing offense, but Kalia Hefe has been one of the most statistically productive receivers in the entire country this year. 6'5", 222 pounds. He is a mammoth of a human being. The production this year has been off the charts. He's been phenomenal. He is a decent athlete. He's fast, but he's not necessarily quick. I think he's going to be more of a jump ball, big physical receiver at the next level. But if you look at his production, I mean, the guy's been balling this year. And then looking at some of the undrafted guys, I think one of the names to watch down here is Romani Pierre-Cross out of Florida State. His production doesn't wow you at the wide receiver position, but he is a flash with the football in his hands, and I think teams are going to look to use him in a variety of different ways, maybe similarly to how the Titans use Elijah Bryant. Pierre-Cross is a blur in the open space, but he's not just fast. He's quick. He can jump out at the gym. You can use him as a kick and punt returner. So I don't know how teams are going to plan to use him at the next level, but just make sure you get the ball in this guy's hands because Romani Pierre-Cross can absolutely make plays. Overall, I think it's a pretty fun receiver class. The Titans could certainly look to add one this year in the draft. As we look at some names to watch in the future, Justice Everdeed's having a great year at Oregon. Skeeter Darlington's a very talented player. Monte Grant out of Georgia, he's very talented. Kion Clark, the former number 1 recruit, hasn't had a great start to his collegiate career, but he's really talented, as is Auden Green, Ashton Aluko, and then Griffin Weaver, one of the young sophomores, along with Jalen Douglas. These are all guys who are draft eligible, but if they don't declare, will be names to watch out for in the future. Let's move over to tight end now, and although I don't think this class is as top-heavy as last year's tight end group, but I do believe this is the deepest tight end class we have seen in this series so far. Currently, we've got a talented tight end room led by Jonnu Smith, who I think has been pretty good this year, coming in via trade from New England. Chig Okonkwo and Ezekiel Ayutondo are both very talented and intriguing players. But Jonnu Smith's a free agent this year. Ayutondo only signed a 1-year deal as an undrafted guy. So long story short, I'm not convinced that we have the tight end of the future on the roster. The top projected tight end in this class is Walker Charleston out of Arizona, who's really burst onto the scene this year. NFL scouts have been high on him for a little while because of his athleticism, but he hasn't really had elite production until this season, where he has been far and away the #1 receiver in the Arizona offense. I think if you combine the type of season he has had as a pass catcher along with his athleticism and his size, so there's a reason why a lot of scouts love his upside. 6'6", 245, he's incredibly fast, he's a good all-around athlete, and if you combine his drastic improvement as a receiver this year, I mean, he checks a lot of boxes that scouts look for at the tight end position, so I think there's a real shot that he does end up going in the first round. North Carolina's Hamza Hamilari is kind of in the opposite boat. I don't think Hamilari does one thing particularly well. He's not a freak athlete, but he's super well-rounded. He's a great blocker. He loves to get physical in the run game, and as a receiver, he's really solid. This is another guy with a basketball background. He's 6'8", 250 pounds, another guy who plays like a power forward. He may not be as athletic as Walker Charleston, but he's been a little bit more consistent throughout his career. He's been a really good starter since his true freshman season with the Tar Heels, and again, he might be the best blocker amongst the tight ends in this class. So if you're looking for more of a high floor option, which is what I think the Titans would prioritize within their offense, Hamza Hamilari is your guy, probably in the second round. Going down the board even farther, you've got some good players down here like Cairo Parham, Paxton Krebs, Brandon Pickens, and Bo Colliers. I want to go over Brandon Pickens out of the University of Florida because I find him to be a very fascinating player. He's not a great athlete, he's not fast, he's not explosive, but the strength of his game is his ability after the catch because of his ability to break tackles. He runs tough, like his hair is on fire. Now, his season-to-season production has been very inconsistent. This year he's playing well. I thought he was pretty good last year during the college football playoff, but there's not a whole lot of consistency with him, which isn't ideal considering his lack of athleticism, but I think he's played well over the last, I would say, 10 plus games of his collegiate career. And again, this is a guy who is a force as a runner with the football in his hands. Looking towards day 3, I like Zarif Maruarziri from Oregon, James Gilmartin from Wisconsin. He's another good player. But I really want to go over Wesley Marston. The Stanford Cardinal have been one of the most fun stories in college football this year. They're 6-0, seemingly out of nowhere, largely because of the production on the field from Wesley Marston, and his ability off the field is one of Stanford's big leaders. He had 4 touchdown receptions in their last game against Hawaii, including the game winner. The numbers don't necessarily burst off the page, but he's so well-rounded. He's solid at getting open. He's a good blocker. This is another guy who I think has a really high floor at the next level. Then looking even lower, Connor Awald and Jay Sweeney are both fringe draft guys, but I think they're pretty solid. And then looking at some of the younger tight ends to look out for, William Kendrickson out of Texas Tech is a very talented player. Marco Mazzilio Jr. from Clemson, DeAndrew Donald from Tight End University, Josh St. George is having a great season this year at TCU. So there's a lot of young talented tight ends in college football. So that wraps up our prospect profile. Those are the running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends in this year's draft class. Let me know which players you really liked in specific that you may hope that the Titans look to end up drafting this coming off season. Before we talk about our matchup against the Jags, we do have to cut a player because we took Hot Rod Pryor off of injured reserve. So what we're going to do is we're going to release Cedric Woods off of the practice squad. Sorry, Cedric. And we will be putting Zaire Patton on the practice squad since we don't really need him now that we have Hot Rod Pryor. I'm hoping to get him a little bit of snaps this week because I think he is a really talented player, only 20 years old, very dynamic with the ball in his hands, really fun player at USC. He never should have fallen to the 7th round, and I'm really excited to utilize him within the offense. Let's now take a look at our opponents this week, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who we beat back in Week 3 on a ridiculous game-winning touchdown in overtime. Since then, they won their next 2 games, 24-17, and then they lost to the Eagles by the score of 24-17. Man, I wish our defense would allow 17 points. The Jaguars are led by Trevor Lawrence, who has not played all that well this year, if we're being completely honest. I thought he did play pretty well against us in their loss. He threw the ball 56 times, so I guess that'll help. The Jags have a lot of weapons on offense with James Robinson and Travis Etienne, along with a couple talented rookies behind them. Christian Kirk, Allen Robinson, and Bryce Berry III lead a great receiving core. And Cole Kmet caught 12 passes against us the last time we played them. They've got a lot of talent on defense. Josh Allen, Javon Holland, former number 1 pick Traylon Walker, who of course intentionally injured Malik Willis last year, so we still have it out for him. So this should be a fun matchup. We've already beaten the Jags earlier in this year. We've performed very well in our inter-division games, so hopefully we can keep that going and add another AFC South win. This would be our 4th in just 7 weeks if we're able to do it. So let's see if the 4-2 Titans can add another win to the win column and try to get up to 5-2 leading up to the trade deadline. The Jaguars are still upset after their heartbreaking Week 3 loss to us, so they're certainly going to be giving it their all here today. The Titans open up with the ball. Willis on first down connects with Scotty Pickens, who gets it to the 37-yard line for a nice play. Tennessee looks to be moving the ball down the field pretty well to start this game off, as on 2nd and 8. Willis goes up the middle again for Scotty Pickens. Willis is 3 for 3. All 3 of his passes have been caught by Scotty Pickens. 3rd and goal now at the 2. Willis is going to hand off for Derrick Henry, and he will be short of the end zone. A big-time tackle there by Samson Ebukam. 4th and goal at the 1. Tennessee is going to try to punch this in. Instead of Derrick Henry in the backfield, this time it's Elijah Bryant, hoping he can get in as he cuts to the left, and that proves to be a mistake. The Jaguars get the stop, and Jacksonville will get it on offense with bad field position, but I think it's worth it, leaving the Titans off the board. On 2nd down, they'll get out of safety territory as Christian Kirk gets a nice gain of 12. 3rd and 2 now for Jacksonville late here in the first quarter. Lawrence drops back to throw it, looking to make a nice play, and he launches a dime back over to Christian Kirk, who brings it past midfield of a 44-yard line. A big play there for Christian Kirk, the $84 million man, as the Jaguars are moving the chains pretty nicely here. 2nd and 8, it's a handoff for Travis Etienne with a nice juke move up the middle. He breaks a tackle and brings it to the 30. The Jags offense started all the way back at the 1-yard line, and they look really good on this drive as that wraps up the first quarter. Pretty slow-paced start to the game. No score up to this point. The Jaguars still have their first drive as they're moving it down the field pretty nicely now at the 15. 2nd and 8 for the Jaguars early in the second quarter. It's a handoff to the left side for James Robinson, and he is able to shrug away from Kevin Byard, and he is in for a touchdown. And so the Jacksonville Jaguars will strike first with a touchdown, and it's 7-0. That'll bring out the Titans offense. 3rd and 3 for Malik Willis and the fellas as it's a handoff. No, it's a read option. Willis keeps it. He faked me out, but he didn't fake the Jaguars defense out. It's Trayvon Walker who brings him down. I'm surprised Trayvon Walker didn't shoot for his knee that time. So the Titans are going to have to punt it. Jacksonville gets it back. On 1st down, there's Cole Kmet, who had a big game the last time these two teams played. He brings it past the 50. Jacksonville's looking really good early, particularly on offense. The Titans defense, who has really struggled this year, is off to another bad start. On 1st down, Lawrence is an open man up the middle. It's Cole Kmet again. He just seems to have the Titans' number this year after a big game in Week 3. He's playing well again today. 2nd and 1. Lawrence hands it off for James Robinson, breaks the tackle from Akeem Davis-Gaither, and he is just shy of the end zone, hit hard at the 1 as Laverne Pulsifer is hurt. Of the Titans' 4 interior defensive linemen, 3 of them are injured, and now Alexander Ekwueme is the only one who is healthy. Pulsifer should be able to return to the game, but that is still really not good. 3rd and goal for the Jags. Lawrence's pass is nearly intercepted. That's a pick 6. If you hold on to the ball there, man, this game could have been tied. Instead, Jacksonville's going to look to add on 3 points. The kick is good, and so the Jaguars now lead 10-0 after the field goal by Myers, the rookie out of the University of Miami. So the Titans get it back. They still certainly have some time as Willis connects with McCole Hardman, who makes a nice play after the catch. Willis has completed his first 8 passes of the game. He's been very efficient, not missing any throws, and his accuracy has been, I would say, his biggest issue this year. On 2nd down, he connects with the rookie, Hot Rod Pryor, drafted in the 7th round out of USC with his first career NFL reception. It's now a 3rd and 12. Willis looks to throw it, and he will connect with McCole Hardman for the 1st down. Willis did throw an incompletion a couple plays ago, so he is now 11 for 12, still playing really well today. On 3rd and 10, Willis has an open man. It's Treylon Burks, but he just misfires, and so the Titans are going to have to kick. 44-yard try here for Fat Randy Bullock, and his kick is good. So the Titans are on the board finally as it's now 10-3. Still overall an underwhelming start from the offense, but at least Malik Willis has been pretty efficient. We'll see if the Jags can make it a 2-score game as on 1st down. Lawrence goes short for the rookie, Bryce Berry III, drafted 10th overall out of the University of Oklahoma as the #1 receiver off the board in last year's draft. Not too long later on the following play, Lawrence connects with Christian Kirk, who's had a big first half, wrapped up with a 29 by Chidobe Awuzie, one of the few bright spots on the Titans defense this year. You may notice I have not called Chidobe Awuzie's name a whole lot throughout the entire season. That's because he has been locked down despite consistencies from everybody else on the defense. Right as I say that, Awuzie gets picked on, and Allen Robinson brings it to the 3. First and goal, play action fake, and Lawrence is sacked. The rookie, Devontae Turner Jr., drafted in the 7th round out of Purdue with his first NFL career sack. The Jags are out of timeouts, so realistically they've got to go for the end zone here. Lawrence is not going to do that. He's going to go for the check down, and that proves to likely be a big mistake as the Jags are not going to be able to run another play. A costly deal of clock managed there by Doug Peterson and the Jaguars, and so the Titans are lucky that this is only a one-score game. 10-3, very low-scoring defensive battle up to this point. I've been waiting for a defensive battle this year. We haven't had any. Let's take a look at our halftime report around the rest of the NFL as we start off in H-Town. It's been another rough season for the Texans, and it's not going to get any better today. Josh Allen is connected with 2 touchdowns for the rookie wide receiver Tyrese Barracon, drafted in the 3rd round out of Texas, as the Bills currently lead 21-6. The Bills look like they're going to be one of the best teams in the AFC this year, so they're going to be a big-time threat to make a run. Allen, 16 of 18. He has been phenomenal in this game as the Texans are in danger of falling to 1-5. Next up in the Motor City, the Packers and Lions have both been phenomenal this year, but so far today, it's Clyde Williamson and the Detroit Lions off to a nice lead as he would connect here with his number 1 receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, in the back of the end zone for a score as the Lions lead 14-0. The Packers are 5-1, led by a great season from quarterback Genesis Moon. Detroit is 4-2. The Minnesota Vikings, don't forget about them, they're 5-1 as well. And then in Charlotte, the Panthers have been the best team in the NFL so far, but they have not been able to stop Tua Tagovailoa, who is a perfect 12 of 12 in the first half. High-scoring start, and this one is it's the Giants in Big Blue who lead 21-17. Tua is 12 for 12 of 174 yards and 2 touchdowns, putting up a total masterclass against what has been arguably the best defense in the NFL up to this point. So that'll bring us into the second half. Offensively, we have not been great. We've been very efficient in the pass game, but there haven't been a lot of big plays, and we're currently struggling to run the ball. And then defensively, if we're going to be able to stop the pass, I think we can get back into this game. But it does feel like the Jaguars have been better on offense. They seem to have control. So the defense has got to keep playing pretty well, or else this could be another loss. Trevor Lawrence on first down has all day to throw it, and he connects with a wide-open Allen Robinson. Just no pass rush there. That's what happens when your entire interior defensive line is injured. From the 37-yard line, Lawrence looks to throw it here on first down. Again, has plenty of time, and he connects with the backup tight end, Nick Boyle, out of the University of Delaware, who brings it to the 22-yard line. So far, so good here on this opening possession from the Jaguars as they look to make it a 2-score game. 1st and 10 from the 11. Lawrence looks to throw it under a little bit of pressure this time, but he connects with Allen Robinson, and he is in for a touchdown. The Jaguars lead by 2 scores as it's Allen Robinson, the veteran, who was on the Titans last year for literally about 5 minutes, showing that he still has something left in the tank. So the Titans have it back. Derrick Henry running through dudes up the middle as he brings it to the 38-yard line. The Titans are really trying to establish a foundation on the ground because so far Henry and Elijah Bryant have both been pretty quiet. On second down, Willis overthrows Jonnu Smith and is intercepted by Javon Holland, the former University of Oregon safety acquired via trade in the offseason from the Dolphins. So Holland forces a huge turnover, and the Jaguars will get it back in a really good spot, up by 14. On 3rd and 6, Lawrence is nearly sacked by Harold Landry, who continues to be a one-man wrecking crew on the defensive line. At least he has shown up today, as he has every game. Field goal try for Chris Myers is good, and the Jaguars now lead at 20-3. The offense has got to put more points up on the board. After the turnover on the last drive, they've got to make a play like, say, this one. The rookie Elijah Bryant takes it 75 yards to the house. And the Florida Gator, it's a homecoming for him, puts the Titans within 10. Elijah Bryant's got a lot of friends and family here at this game, and he just made a huge play for them as it's 20-10. 3rd and 7 here for the Jags. Lawrence's pass is caught by Robinson, who's chased out of bounds by the rookie Asher Gonzalez, shy of the yard to gain. So the Titans get the stop, and they've got a real opportunity to put themselves back into the game. They're really starting to gain some momentum. As on first down, Willis goes deep for Pryor, and he's intercepted again. Javon Holland with his second interception of the quarter. Again, Malik Willis goes deep, trying to make something happen up the middle of the field, but he overthrows his target, and Javon Holland makes another play. Willis has now been intercepted twice in the third quarter. He was really good in the first half, but so far in the second half, Malik Willis has been horrible. So the Jags have it back. Here's James Robinson with a nice play, wrapped up by McCreary at the 32. And now Alexander Ekwueme is hurt. This is ridiculous. Ekwueme is out of the game, and the only healthy defensive lineman on the roster is undrafted rookie Laverne Pulsifer. This is a disaster for the Titans D-line as Lawrence connects with Terrence Carter, the second-year pro out of Auburn, who gets it into the red zone. 2nd and 10 at the 17. Lawrence looks to throw it, goes short, caught by Bryce Berry, who has it inside the 5. The lack of pressure is appalling. The Titans have guys like Jordan Ruffin playing with their hand in the dirt. Ola Adenye is getting some snaps on the defensive line. I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures as Giovanni Lorici, the fullback, is in for the score, and so the Jaguars extend their lead off the turnovers. It's 27-10. Malik Willis just is not playing well today. He's got to pick it up. As on first down, Willis connects with Scotty Pickens, who's been pretty quiet since the opening drive. If I was Malik Willis, I would try to get the ball in Scotty's hands more because Scotty Pickens is really good. That'll wrap up the third, 27-10. The Jaguars appear to be in control. Malik Willis and the Titans turned it over twice there in the third, and they're going to need a big fourth quarter if they want to win this game. 3rd and 1, nice run up the middle for Derrick Henry with blocks. He stiff arms Holland and is wrapped up at the 31. Despite being down, I think the Titans really want to get the run game in a rhythm here early in the fourth quarter, while obviously still making plays with the pass. Malik Willis takes what the defense gives him. Good run as he gets it to the 18-yard line for a nice first down gain. The Titans appear to be moving it. They're not giving up quite yet. As on first down, Willis looks to throw it, and he is intercepted again. Shaquille Griffin this time picks it off. He's got nobody in front of him, and he's going to take it all the way for a pick six, and the Jaguars have turned this game into a blowout. Shaquille Griffin is rightfully celebrating off the pick six. Just a terrible read by Malik Willis. I think he was trying to get it to Jonnu Smith, but he underthrew his target. And as you can see here, there's been a change at quarterback. Malik Willis has been benched for the rookie out of Alabama, Bryson Byrne. This isn't a permanent benching, but with Malik Willis playing poorly, Byrne's going to get to play the rest of this game as he connects up the middle with Jonnu Smith. That's a good start as he brings it to the 48-yard line. If Bryson Byrne can play well here in this fourth quarter, then his stock really could be up within the organization, and there might be some real pressure for Malik Willis to play well. Byrne misses the throw there. It's 4th and 1. Tennessee has nothing to lose, so they're going to go for it as Derrick Henry breaks the tackle and barely by inches gets the first down as the right tackle, Evan Smith, is out for the game. That is not good. The Titans continue to get hit by the injury bug. 3rd and inches, Derrick Henry trying to fight for yardage, and he is not going to get it. What a play up the middle by Folu Fanukazi. 4th and 1. The Titans are going to go for it again. Once more, they don't really have much to lose as Derrick Henry gets the first down here once again, quickly wrapped up by Devin Lloyd. Time is ticking, about 5 minutes to go. The Titans probably aren't going to win this game, but they still want to see more out of Bryson Byrne as he launches a nice pass for Derrick Henry, who gets it to the 6-yard line. Good play. Just under 4.5 minutes to go now. 2nd and goal from the 6. Byrne looks to throw it. He has time, and he connects with Treylon Burks for the touchdown. That's Bryson Byrne's second NFL drive, resulting in his second NFL touchdown. Remember back in week 2 when Malik Willis got injured late in the first half, he had that ridiculous throw for a touchdown, which was also caught ironically by Treylon Burks. The 2-point conversion is successful for Derrick Henry, so it is a 2-score game. I know it's not likely, but I suppose it's not impossible. But the Titans are going to have to get a stop here, and they're going to have to quickly if they want any chance of coming back. On first down, Travis Etienne quickly with a big run up the middle. He gets by Simpson. Etienne down the field, still on his feet, and he is pushed out by Gonzalez all the way at the 18. The Titans' defense is so soft. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They have gotten just manhandled up front in the run game since week 4 against Kansas City. 2nd and goal at the 1. Lawrence goes short, caught for a touchdown. That's Allen Robinson with his second of the game and it looks like the Jaguars have just about iced it as they lead 41-18. If nothing else, it'll be good to see some more snaps here for Bryson Byrne, as on first down, he is intercepted again. Shaquille Griffin with his second of the game, and he's going to take it for another pick six. So Javon Holland has 2 interceptions in the third quarter, while Shaquille Griffin not only has 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, but they're both taken for pick sixes. It's now 48-18. My God. Another blowout loss for the Titans as Byrne is sacked by Josh Allen. 4th and 6, 30 seconds to go. Byrne doesn't even get rid of it. He is sacked again. Al Cahal and Trayvon Walker with half a sack each, and this game is over. I mean, there's no other way to put it than that the Titans are a bad football team right now as they get manhandled by the Jaguars 48-18. Everybody struggled today. The offense was not good. We did not run the ball well in the first half. We did not throw the ball well in the second half, considering after halftime we threw 4 interceptions. That's like impressively bad. Malik Willis, who completed his first 10 passes, finished the game on the bench. The Jags scored 38 points in the second half alone. I don't think it's all on the defense because 2 of those were defensive touchdowns, but still, the defense did not play great down the stretch. Trevor Lawrence was solid. Can't say the same about our quarterbacks. Malik Willis was not good. I mean, he just played badly, and Willis needs to do a better job of being efficient and holding on to the football. Bryson Byrne was okay. He wasn't good, but he wasn't bad, I guess. We ran the ball pretty well in the second half. Derrick Henry was good down the stretch. Elijah Bryant had the big play. But other than Henry and Bryant, there really aren't many bright spots on this football team right now. The defense played poorly again. The run defense has been a train wreck this year. The pass rush has been just Harold Landry. And then, of course, Griffin had the 2 pick sixes, and Javon Holland had 2 interceptions of his own. So another bad loss here for the Titans. To make matters worse, we have another injury, and it's Alexander Ekwueme who dislocated his elbow. He'll be out 3 weeks. Luckily, we get Fletcher Cox back, but still, we have no depth on the defensive line. I think we have to go out and address the defensive line here at the trade deadline as we take a look at the scores around the rest of the league. The Rams won, which hurts our draft pick, so that kind of sucks. Players of the week on offense are Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert, and then on defense, David Onyemata, and unsurprisingly, Shaq Griffin with his 2 pick sixes. So as we go into week 8, we've got some soul searching to do because for the last 4 weeks, this team has been bad. We got blown out by the Chiefs, we lost to the Steelers, we arguably should have lost to Dallas, and then we got blown out by Jacksonville. The fact of the matter is, this team is not cutting it as it is. We are not a good football team right now, so we've got to make a decision. Do we want to go all out for the playoffs? Do we want to make a big move, probably on the defensive line? Or do we want to tear it all down and maybe start a true rebuild with this team, even if that hurts our chances of winning this year, and thus possibly positioning ourselves to look at a quarterback change in the offseason? So we've got a lot of decisions to make here. Do we want to stick with this core and try to make a playoff run in a competitive AFC South? Or do we tear it down? Do we make some big moves? Do we trade away guys like Derrick Henry who have been here for a while and kind of start over? So that'll wrap up the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think we should do during the trade deadline down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace out. Tighten up.